Hello and welcome to my Mortal Shell 2 walkthrough slash guide. This is intended to be both a game walkthrough and a guide for newer players who may be unfamiliar with this genre of games as a whole. So first things first, we are going to go into options. We are going to turn on auto pickup gold. Just turn this on and forget it is a setting. The next thing we are going to do is make sure our camera is set to action. It will zoom out our camera a little bit, which I will show off once we get into game. But having a zoomed out camera is advantageous as it lets us see a little bit more of what is going on around us. And being able to see what is going on is extremely important in these games. Next up, we are going to go to controller calibration and set our dodge style to turbo. This will mean that we will dodge as soon as the button is pressed and not when the button is released. This is extremely important as it increases your reaction time. Turn this on. This is extremely important. So, without further ado, we will hit new game, and I will let the intro play.
When the old prisoner broke his bonds, the foundling rose to the sky and became a beacon. Fulgrim fell quiet for a time until the Undermether arrived. At first, her remains were worshipped. Yet that was not enough. They carved temples from her bones, pilfered the wealth of her womb. But within her helm, a foul passenger festered, whispering madness, until it broke free. Kin turned upon kin. The temples were ravaged, her eggs lost. She feared all her ova were gone, spoiled, tainted. But one did survive. A strong one. It's time, child.
Wake up.
You think you're one of them? You're not. You hatched here, but you belong somewhere else. Arise, Harbinger.
Alright, so now that we are in game, we know that the Undermethers ova were stolen and that we maybe don't belong where we are? At least according to the crow thing. But first, I want to show off why action camera is so important. So we are going to set it to immersive. And we are going to hide this here big tree stump behind our camera. And then we are going to change it back to action. And this whole tree stump is now visible. This is why action camera is extremely important. So that you can see what is happening around you. Because if you cannot see what an enemy is doing, you are going to get owned and you are going to die. It is extremely important. Now, from this starting area, the first thing we are going to do is not go the intended route, but we are going to walk through this little gate and pick up this PP item. Now, this trollweed does nothing. And we need to pick up 999 more to find out more about it. But it is the first thing we can pick up, so we're going to do it. Every single PP item in the game functions this way. You pick it up, and the more you pick up, the more effective they get. But for now, we are going to take a stroll down this road, and I'm going to let this NPC talk, and then I'm going to talk about...
I need a few more flowers before I can join the others. They say she'll recognize us by the garlands upon our heads. I don't doubt it, of course, but I just enjoy their beauty.
As I was saying, I am going to let most of the NPC dialogue play through. I unfortunately cannot play all of the shell stories in a single playthrough. I will click on this in a sec. And I cannot play all of the shell memories in a playthrough. It is simply not possible. But I will attempt to play as much as possible.
I think I feel her presence. The mother, she's near. I pray our reunion is most joyous. Now, let me finish my prayers.
I want to meet the Undermother first.
You don't deserve for this.
I'm going to meet her and you can't stop me.
Alright. So apparently meeting this Undermother is extremely important for this village.
Lavender, we made you something to remember us by. I'm sure I'll see you again after the reunion. I like to imagine us all in a great field of flowers. The sun is always shining, and the past is long forgotten. Thank you, Lavender, for giving us purpose and hope. Come on, Lavender. Will you dance with me? The others think you're shy, but I know better. I can see it in your eyes. The yearning. Yes, that's it. A little bob of the head, a sway of the hips. You are dancing in your own way. I like the way you dance, Lavender. Perhaps we'll dance again once this is all over. Perhaps we'll dance again once this is all over.
Well, we have learned that our name is Lavender, and we're at least we have at least some sort of connection with this
I'm scared,
Undermother.
Lavender. What if Mother doesn't like me? I'm scared, Lavender. What if Mother doesn't like
and the people of this village at least revere us in some sort of way.
Please, don't hurt Nevi.
Fetch the bucket.
No!
We need its blood for the ritual.
How could you? Why?
And that,
Ready to die. Please, let me go.
Don't be silly. We're meeting Method today. We're meeting...
yeah, this ritual may not be the kindest of things.
We're ready for you.
Come closer. It's time to claim what's yours. This knight, Haros. He was once like any mortal, driven by the illusion of self. Now he's pure, a vessel to be filled with purpose. Your purpose. You're more than a weapon, child. Find what remains of me.
Alright, so now we have a general set of equipment, including the iconoclast, which is our sword. If we hit our right trigger, we have our nail shot, which is our sidearm, which is a gun, a shotgun in fact, and one of my personal favorite weapons. And we have our untarnished seal, which is our block. I'll be going over all of these as it becomes relevant. I'm just going to accept through these notifications real quick. I will be going over all of these as they become relevant, as it's kind of a lot to be presented with immediately. But for now, our great sword has a light attack, and a light attack. The first two are pretty effective at hitting multiple targets, and we have a heavy attack, a heavy attack, and a heavy attack. These can be chained together in any combination, so we can light, heavy, heavy. I am just going to use that third heavy as the finisher for all of these, because it is a very recognizable move. We go heavy, 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 light, heavy. I think you get the idea. You can push your attack buttons in any order,
Do not mourn.
and they
Your
will work.
true disciples are waiting. You may call me Rook, if you had a mouth. Keep going. We must get you to your new home.
Alright, so Uruk just, or at least that's what he calls himself, has informed us that we do not in fact have a mouth. Now, here is our first enemies. And one of the most important things to learn about these games is to keep the enemies in front of you. If they are in front of you, you can see what they are doing. And if all of your enemies are in the same direction, dodging becomes much, much easier. So for now, we can just sort of swing at them and they will die. One of the most important things you can do in this game is knowing what your enemies are doing. So we're gonna go up here. We have more boxes to break and more enemies to kill. We're gonna use some heavy attacks this time. We've got 2 here. We can use our heavy attacks, and as you can see, they are reacting to every attack that we do. This will not always be the case, but it is important to know when an enemy will react. So here we have an enemy that stops what they are doing when we do a light and a heavy attack. So here we have our first Ventrium, which is an upgrade material. We will use this to make our weapons and our sidearms better. We will get more into this later. So over here, we have an enemy next to this tentacle thing, and we will demonstrate our running attacks. So we can press our movement stick to run, and while we are running, we can hit light or heavy attack. Light attack gives us this chop, and heavy attack gives us this uppercut swing. Now, this tentacle thing here gives us a bit of gloom. And gloom we will use to level up. You can see it is the bonfire looking resource in the top right of my screen, alongside the gold. So here we have 3 more enemies. We just keep them in front of us and deal with one as quickly as possible before the others notice we are here. So here we just do some heavy attacks, do some pokes, and cut up these steps.
Learn of your strength, child.
So here we have our ranged weapon. For our controller scheme, we will hold left trigger. It brings us into this aiming mode. To fire, we hit the right trigger. And as you can see, getting hit rips us out of said aiming mode. So you need to be quite careful when you enter this mode. And as you can see, walking around a corner while aiming into multiple enemies is probably not a good idea. However, this has also demonstrated something extremely important about enemies in, at the very least, this game. Terrain is very important. I hit them. Not at all. They took a lot of damage from simply falling off this ledge. This is something you can use to your advantage. Gravity is no one's friend. This will become very apparent very quickly. As you can see, there's another enemy hiding around this corner. Simply turn him into a red soup. And now we are left with but a single enemy as I attempt to change targets. My camera is picking up no other enemies, so we know that this is, in fact, the only target we have to worry about. So we can kind of bully him until he dies. So here we have our first beacon. So the beacon lets us restore all of our stats and all of our healing items at the cost of respawning all of the enemies. And any tutorial text that pops up, or text in general, I will leave on screen for a couple seconds to allow you to pause the video, but in general, I will not be focusing on. So for now, we will cleanse this beacon. Most beacons in this game must be cleansed, and doing so will get rid of a lot of the spiky black goop that is hanging around the area. Now, this chest has given us the Meridian Actuator, which is a strange unrusting mechanism crafted for an unknown machine, which we must bring to an individual named Franz, who we are as of yet unaware. So right now, this kind of does nothing. One important habit to get into with the anything in this genre is sending an elevator back up after you get to the bottom or the top or wherever it is that the elevator sends you. Because if you die, you will have to call the elevator back up to where you were and then ride it back down. And this just saves you time.
Come, learn of your strength, child.
Now, this is basically explaining that some enemies are more vulnerable to certain types of attacks. For instance, these shield enemies. If I light attack them, nothing happens. If I range attack them, I need you to put your shield up so that I can... Okay, you are going to ruin my demonstration here. Well, they are immune to range damage if they have their shield in front of them, but he did not want to participate, so he was shot instead, which I guess demonstrates the ability to get around the shield. Their shields take no damage if you shoot them or hit them with a light attack. You need to heavy attack their shields in any variety to break them. In this case, I will use a running attack to break the shield of this enemy. Right after I explain what the game is teaching you here, in that the enemies will set traps, and also they will have distractions set up for you. Enemies will hide around corners. They will put annoying melee enemies in front of their ranged damage dealers to distract you. The enemies in this game are, we'll call them smart. There are traps set for you. There are things that are designed to get your attention. But for now, we have drawn the distraction away from what he is supposed to be guarding. And what he is supposed to be guarding has not noticed us. So we will talk about him. This is an enemy you will face a lot, and is a good teaching example for a few core principles of games like this, being respecting what the enemy is doing. These games are not simply a game about doing damage. They are a game about knowing what your opponent is doing. So as you can see, I am simply dodging what my opponent, in this case, this big lad with the rocks, is doing. However, that is not all of what these games are about. Because at some point, I need to do damage. So, how do I do damage to something like this, or an enemy in general? And I'm going to use this man as my teaching tool here, because he has a very, very, very telegraphed attacks, and does not immediately flinch to anything that he does. Because I can hit him a couple times, and he does not care. So, if you have played fighting games, you will probably already be familiar with the concept of taking a turn. And as I am explaining this, you will see him performing a variety of attacks as I dodge them. So, a turn in a fighting game is basically when you as the perspective player has the ability to enforce what you want to do on your opponent. In this case, the rock throwing man. So in this case, he is taking his turn by throwing this very large boulder in my face. And then I will take my turn in hitting him. And then he will take his turn in attempting to smash me into a greasy stain on the ground with this boulder. And that is the overall gameplay of this type of game. So as you can see, he grabs the boulder, he does a 3-hit slam, and now I can take my turn. And now he is doing something, and I must respect that he is taking his turn. So I got hit there. Now he is taking his turn, and he is doing a 3-hit slam, and now I can take my turn. And now he is taking his turn. And as you understand a little bit more about how long an enemy takes during their attacks and what they are doing when they are taking their turn, so to speak, the more you can do inside of it. To show another example, the shield bearers, they have this overhead slam. That is the most obvious example of them taking a turn. So if he is doing his turn, I simply dodge backwards and then heavy attack them afterwards. Very, very simple in concept, yet very, very, very complicated in execution. It is one of the most difficult parts about this game, and I will get into that a little bit later, but for now, this button will open the gate to unlock this corruption. We will cleanse it, but not immediately return to the surface. We will turn around, pick up this Ventrium that has now been uncorrupted, and then return to the surface. Now, understanding that enemies are trying to kill you and understanding the turns that enemies are providing you, as we pick up another PP item that refills our health, which we will equip in our passive slot. Now, I'm going to make a quick detour to talk about these in a little bit more detail, as now they are more relevant. The top effect here is their active effect. In this case, it restores 20% of our health over 30 seconds. We will get a single use of that, and it will say, basically, if we have 100 health, it will restore 20 health over 30 seconds. In the passive slot, it will refill our health up to 20%. So using our 100 health as a analogy again, if we were at 5 health, it would refill us up to 20 health. Quite slowly, but health regen is always nice. Now, going back to how enemies function. We have this individual shooting annoying projectiles at us. So we run at him and find out that there is in fact someone hiding around the corner. Now that's kind of rude. There was somebody hiding here waiting for us to run around this here corner. This is something that is very important to learn.
Your shells
Enemies
you as a brother.
will enemies will try to kill you. They will set traps for you. They will try to make you dead. And being aware of what might be a trap and not necessarily knowing, but having an idea of what you are walking into, or maybe, for example, doing something that the enemy doesn't expect you to do, such as simply shooting them, as we will go down this path and find out. If you hit the light attack button while falling, you will do this plunging attack, as I get absolutely destroyed by this individual. Here we have picked up a tar spore, which gives us poison resistance. Nothing really to talk about. If you need poison mitigation, this is your item. So we're gonna go ahead and heal real quick. Having your healing items on hand is quite nice, but being at full health means you are not in immediate danger of dying. So it is generally a good idea to stay at full health. This is not always the case, but is a good rule of thumb. So we are just going to clear out these enemies, and these enemies are doing a good job at teaching us that, well, not all things are safe when they die, as these little guys explode into a nasty cloud of poison when they die. Go ahead and clear them out. And we come up to one of these tentacle things, but this time it gives us mana, or resolve as this game calls it. So we'll go ahead and empty our resolve as much as we can, and then hit this tentacle, and it gives us all of our resolve back. Now, we will be doubling back on this area if we wind up dying, as there is a little bit more to acquire on this here top path. But for now, we will drop down here. So here we have our shell ability, which freezes an enemy in place. Now, it makes the enemy take a damage in the form of that yellow bar. That yellow bar is their stagger bar. And there we can see the enemy doing quite a fast combo of a lot of hits that must be avoided in rapid succession if you are caught in it. So we're just going to shoot him in the face. Now, that yellow bar, which we will explain after we explain death, if you die, you will be ejected from your shell and have to fight naked. You can get your shell back by committing physical violence against anything and everything in your local vicinity. If you die while naked, like this, you die for real, and will respawn at the closest beacon. Now, that yellow bar that appeared underneath that enemy's health bar, which we will go find another enemy in order to show this off. And here we have Volunteer. So, the enemy has a red health bar and a empty bar underneath it. So, as you can see, our attacks do nothing against said bar underneath the health bar. If you time your parries right, which we will go ahead and equip our mushroom in the active slot so that we can get interesting. It says 1 out of 1, but it will not heal us. I think that is a bug because we have equipped it. So here we have a demonstration of enemies being unfriendly to each other as this infantryman has been hit by a rock. So, if we do enough damage while in our naked form, we can get our shell back and thus get our ability back. Now, when we use our ability, we turn the enemy into stone, and we start filling that yellow bar, which is the enemy's stagger bar. If we fill that up all the way, we will stun them and get a free critical attack. So we can fill up that bar by either using our ability of our current shell, or we will come to that item in a second, parrying the enemy. In this case, it needs to be a melee attack and not a throw rock. Needs to be a melee attack, sir. So now we have knocked him over, and we can perform a critical attack, which does a lot of damage. If you perform a critical on an enemy, they will be knocked down, and you can beat on them while they stand up. Very effective, does a lot of damage, allows you to get more damage on top of it. Very good. Use it often. So now we will continue. For now, we will continue up this hill. So here we have an upgrade stone in this little cradle thing. These will always contain upgrade stones if you see them. This laterite here is simply a higher level upgrade stone than the Ventrium. So here we have a little bit more of an interesting combat scenario. We have 3 small enemies that we can see, and a big enemy in the back, being that knight in the tower helm with the halberd. Now, the knight with the halberd is kind of scary, especially at this level. He hits really hard and has a kind of annoying moveset, especially if you are new to the game, or this genre in general, and presents you with the first real question of the series, being how do you choose to deal with this enemy? So first, we are going to go with the most obvious answer of kill them until they die. We saw an enemy by themselves, so we killed them until they died. And now we have an enemy who is shooting at us from quite a ways away, and this large enemy with a halberd who is slowly and menacingly walking us down while we have no healing. So what do we do? Well, we can either choose to fight this man, or we can decide that this man is not in fact worth our trouble, but has in fact walked away from the direction that we need to go and simply walk around him. Now, the guy with the bow is annoying and can go. And would you look at that? The bridge is entirely open to us. Now, we will come back to this, and I would not recommend jumping down here right now. We have half of our health, no healing items. And there is a flaming tree down there, which I do not want to deal with. So for now, we'll just deal with some of these enemies. The shotgun is extremely effective at dealing with these annoying bat enemies. And we will find this beacon here. Oh. One of the most important things to learn about these games is that simply running past something can be a very effective strategy at getting where you need to go. Because a lot of the time, especially if this is and this is going to be a little bit more of, I don't want to call it an advanced technique, but we will call it an advanced technique. getting something that you want, like on a second playthrough, a weapon that you know is in an area that is more difficult. Running past everything to get it because it will just kill you or is a quite difficult enemy is a perfectly valid thing to do, as I am going to demonstrate right here. We have seen this enemy before. We know how difficult, we know roughly how difficult he is. But if I were to simply walk past him, well, okay. Maybe this is a poor choice for a demonstration, as I cannot cleanse this beacon with him still alive. But I believe my point still stands. I could simply walk past him and touch the beacon, and there's really not much that he could do about it. To truly emphasize my point, I will show this against said tree enemy, who is just through this doorway, right next to the beacon here. This enemy is rather strong for this area, as he even has his own boss health bar, but he's guarding an upgrade material. If I just walk past him and, well, I take a little bit of damage, but now I have my upgrade material. Yeah, that wasn't so hard. Now let's talk a little bit about this enemy. He has this ground AoE, which goes out and kind of hits you in the legs and lights you on fire. He has overhead slam, which explodes in a line. Like that. And he has a grab. Could you please use your grab, sir? Okay. His line AoE slam, that can inflict quite a lot of burn on you, and it can hurt a lot. That little red notification that popped up on that attack indicates that the attack cannot be blocked, and in this case, it is in fact a grab. Grabs are very dangerous in this game. You can go ahead and put some damage on him. So, as you can see, I am kind of getting, well, thrashed. So, we're going to go ahead and head on back to the beacon, which is another thing to be aware of your ability to do. If you do not think you can win a fight and wish to preserve your resources, simply leave. So for now, we're going to come back with our resources and fight this strong enemy. So they also have this, they will use their left hand to throw a haymaker kind of attack. For their overhead slam, you want to dodge. You want to make a little bit of space and then dodge left or right after they hit the ground. You don't want to be directly on top of them, as they spawn a big hitbox when they hit the ground, and it is quite annoying to avoid. If you are a little bit farther away, the hitbox takes a second to reach you, and you can more easily get away from it. As you can see, I can quite easily get away from it, and then hit them, and now it's their turn. And now I hit them, and now it's their turn. Now, doing 2 attacks is a little bit dicey on the timing, but you can see, as you can see there, we got hit by the extended hitbox of their slam, and we lost our shell. And as you can see there, we got hit by the grab, and now we are going to die. So, this demonstrates that certain enemies are far, far, far more dangerous than others, and is a good time to explain. Yes, if you die, you will be revived at your most recent beacon, and you will drop any gloom that you were carrying at the point when you died. And this is a good time to explain that certain enemies are far more dangerous than others, and will present you with a choice of either... And we get hit by a grab again, because we are not paying attention. And it does a lot of damage. So let us use our ability. We can build up some stagger on this enemy. So they're really doing a haymaker. We hit them a couple times. We give them the respect that they deserve because this enemy is quite dangerous and does not flinch at literally anything we do. There we have blocked their attack. We will get into that in just a little bit. But for now, we will just hit them and shoot them. They have done quite a number on us. And we will use our mushroom to give us a little bit of extra health. That long line attack is quite easy to avoid. Most of their attacks can be avoided by simply going left or right. There we got hit by the fire AoE of their slam. It is quite annoying, but we have killed this enemy, and for our troubles have received a burnt effigy. This is another PP item. It gives us burn resistance, and in the active slot, it cures all of our burn. I will very quickly go over any of the PP items that we pick up, but for the majority of the elemental ones, it is the same thing for all of them. The only thing that changes is what element they do it to. But for now, we will go back to the beacon because we are out of healing and would like some resources. We are going to go into this portal-looking hole and take the elevator down. And as a habit, we are going to send the elevator back up. And now we are going to just hit the lock on button because we are suspicious of the area. And that tells us that there is in fact an enemy in front of us, as it has our camera has locked onto something. So we can go ahead and deal with it. And now we have 3 of these enemies. It is a good idea to look at what is underneath you before you drop off of a ledge, as you can often drop into something that is quite dangerous, just like this. These enemies can kill you quite quickly. So what we are going to do is try to kill one of them before the rest can do anything. So we're going to drop down and stun all of them with our ability, which gives us access to a critical attack on one of them and allows us to just kill it. Pull out our gun and have to dodge because one of them is jumping at us. Alright, we got our shot off, but we still got hit. And as you can see, with 2 of these things, they tend to not leave you alone long enough to really do anything, so killing them quickly is a high priority. And I will explain some of what an enemy does as like a general overview, and make sure to pull your lever to send the elevator back down before you walk into the elevator shaft and die. And I will make sure to talk about individual enemies and notable attacks or strategies that they have as they come up, because understanding how an enemy works or behaves is extremely important to formulating a plan on how to deal with them.
To bring my over back, you must survive.
So, this is talking about guarding, which we do with the left bumper. Unfortunately, there is no enemy to demonstrate it against. So we will just go over here and pick up our Ventrium before continuing on.
Careful. It's quiet. No brigands. Not even a mouse. Something's wrong. I can't explain it, but I feel as if there's something that I should remember. Something dangerous. Something's wrong.
Alright, so this Rook fella doesn't seem to think that something's right. Or seems to think that something's off. So we'll go ahead and jump into this suspiciously arena-shaped arena. Gotta love it when the electrics kick in when the weapons. So, this is our first real boss encounter. We can see the unblockable attacks, and we will just respect the enemy as we see what happens when we don't respect them. I threw too many attacks and was in the middle of doing an attack, and he decided to punch me in the head. So we'll do one, we'll do two, and then he's going to do something. because they have a very consistent timing. Do a couple hits. We will continue to carry. And here we can perform a riposte. And we should probably heal as we have gotten kind of beat up. Another thing that is important to remember with major bosses like this is if you damage them enough, you will be able to riposte them. This is only for, and I will explain a little bit more about this. I'm not trying to absolutely murder me. If you damage major bosses like this enough, you will get a free riposte on them. But for now, we will continue to simply dodge to either the left or the right. And there, we got hit a little bit too much. Alright, so here we have our Vatra's seal, which is a alternate block ability that we have access to. So you can either use this or your ability to block with your weapon. See, it turns you into stone. We also have this gray bar underneath our health bar in the bottom left, so I can throw attacks, and as you can see, I'm about to perform my heavy 3 pummel strike, but I am currently frozen. If I am hit by an attack in this, it will reflect the attacker's attack will bounce off of me, and then I will unfreeze and finish performing my attack. The seal that you use is mostly dependent on your playstyle, and I will not be using the Vatra's seal very much in this playthrough, if at all. I do not particularly like it. It really doesn't fit with my playstyle. That is not to say that the seal is bad, it is just that I do not prefer it. So, continuing on, we will go up these stairs and hang a left. Another left. And head out this way.
Come. Look. A lone egg. On the verge of spoiling. Perhaps the Harbinger can cleanse it.
It's safe now, in your hands. Bring the ovum back to me.
Alright, so now we have gone somewhere else. We have acquired a map of, well, this somewhere. And before we continue on to that temple there, as it is the same structure we saw in, or at least the same shaped structure we saw in the intro, we are going to turn around. Let's pick up this coin of Mammon, who is definitely not the archdemon of greed. Once a symbol of unimaginable riches, but it still remains valuable to collectors. We can trade this to a merchant for $500, which we do not have access to yet, so for now, we are just going to travel through this empty and desolate land that is hauntingly beautiful, while I talk about just how much I love this genre because of scenes like this where you just feel small, like you're wandering through something that you weren't expected to know. Just seeing a glimpse of really what used to be. And even if you make it to that castle, you could look back upon where you came from and say, yeah, I got here. This genre is truly amazing, and I really do hope that if you are a new player to this genre, that you will find more games like this, and that you will truly enjoy what these games have to offer. Now, we shall enjoy the atmosphere and slow guitar.
Hush. Kneel before the Harbinger.
Thank you for allowing us to safekeep this sacred egg. We are your humble disciples, Harbinger.
This is another merchant item that we can sell for a little bit of gold.
Harbinger. I know what you are, where you have been. Haros is gone, but not forgotten. There are others like him, yearning for your bond.
Alright, so this lady has showed us the location of 2 different shells. And these function like your class in this game. And each one of these ghostly figures on the sarcophagi is a different shell. And if we were to locate a shell, we will go with this one right here, this knight-looking fellow. We will go ahead and locate him. Now, this is...
Loathsome knight. He sought redemption until the end.
Now, we will be using this particular shell for the majority of this playthrough. But we will not be acquiring him immediately, as there is quite a few things to do beforehand. If I was to do a normal playthrough, I would probably just go get him early or immediately, but this is not a normal playthrough, so I have a few things that I would like to collect beforehand, which will be extremely helpful in both exploration and progression. So first things first, we will go down this right path underneath here, and we will collect some money. We will collect another Ventrium, and we will talk to this lady.
Find me, Harbinger. Come. I see you're prepared, but you have much to learn.
And this lady is going to teach us about the various guard types.
Let's see what you can do.
So here we have our perfect guards, which will take us into a riposte. Perfect guard an enemy enough. There's stagger bar fills. You may perform a riposte. And this will give us the Infinity Seal, which replaces our ability to guard. As you can see, I am holding the button and I am not guarding. I am simply waving this pointy stick around. This deals way more stagger damage when you perfect guard an enemy.
On guard.
As you can see, instead of 3 hits, it only takes 2.
Well,
very high risk, very high reward.
The Harbinger.
On a first playthrough, if you do not know what you are doing or are uncomfortable with this style of game, I would recommend just using the untarnished seal. That will give you access to block. It is much more forgiving, and really you are not missing out on very much stagger damage. And there is really no wrong way to play these types of games. You can spend the entire game building around just using your shotgun if you wish. There is nothing wrong with that, and would probably make for quite the interesting playthrough.
A piece of her. And this part, it's what makes her purr. Her heart's beating again.
For now, we will give Franz the Muradin actuator so that we can level up our iconoclast. This is the weapon we will be using for the early segments of the game, at least in this playthrough. And so as such, we will be leveling it up a fair bit. You do not have to do this with this particular weapon. We will pick up another weapon, specifically a dual-wielding weapon, quite soon. But for the purposes of this particular guide, we will be using this weapon until we get the larger version of a sword a little bit later on in this playthrough. But for now, this weapon will suffice. We will get both passive and active Tarstone abilities, which we will get into a little bit later for this weapon very, very, very early on. And this weapon will very, very easily carry you all the way until the end game. You can very easily use the Iconoclast and the shotgun until the very end of the game. Do not think because either of these weapons are your starting weapons that they are bad or to be replaced. They are fantastic and extremely useful all the way until the end of the game. So, we will be showing off how useful they are.
That special breed,
and
right? I've got something nice for you.
Well, I guess Merrick wants to make his presence known right now.
First one's
so we'll talk about
free,
him.
But I got plenty more if you got coin. Just come visit your new friend Merrick.
Merrick is our vendor.
Is it true you can bring back the dead if they're special or something? I'll take that as a yes.
And right now, Merrick will not sell us anything, because if we
the shop's a mess
check right now.
But give me some time, and I'll have it sorted.
However, Merrick sells maps to weapons. So if we would like to go and find a weapon that is not our starting weapon, we would talk to good old Merrick here. If we want something that is not our shotgun, we would also talk to Merrick. He sells a couple of stones. He is a very useful chap. He is also who we will sell our Devout Chalice and a coin of a Mammon to. But once again,
anyway, come back.
He is not ready to purchase anything, so we will go ahead and just pet the dog instead. Because what is a game with a dog without being able to pet the dog? Now, moving on from Merrick's shop, we will continue down this here path into this flooded area with this sick looking tree, and over to this throne to pick up the Slayer seal. Now, this seal will juice the absolute hell out of you. You will gain access to new abilities. You will gain access to this big old punch attack. However, doing so will disable achievements, as it will give you a ton of power. We will not be using this seal in this playthrough, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with using this seal, especially if you are struggling with certain enemies or bosses. Again, there is only one thing that matters in these games, and that is victory. You win how you need to win. A dead enemy is a dead enemy. It does not matter how they are dead, only that they are. But for now,
praise the blessed Mother. You're
we
here at
will
last.
continue from our beacon. We have a left path to our blacksmith, a right path to our merchant, and straight ahead will take us to our gloom siphon, which is where we turn in our collected ovum. Collecting ovum is how we progress in the game, and this is where we will go to turn them back in.
As was foretold, you have brought more over. Thank you for listening. I will keep these over safe. I promise you.
Not really much to do in the keep for now, but this is a place that we will return to quite frequently, especially to Franz in order to upgrade a multitude of items. But for now, we will use the lift. And we are approaching the end of this particular episode. First, we will notice that we require a specific item to light this lantern called the Gloom-Bound Flame. We need a very specific item to light this lantern. The second thing you will notice after we talk to Luke.
Look, you're nervous? Don't worry. You'll get used to it. Now go. More eggs are out there. We must keep searching. What? Go on then. Go on.
So, there are two paths available to us. One that is open, and one that is blocked off with corruption. We can in fact remove this corruption immediately, but for the purposes of this playthrough, we are not going to. You can absolutely remove this corruption and go into the areas that this gate accesses right now and acquire what is hidden behind there right now. But we are not going to do that because we are assuming that this is in fact a first playthrough and not somebody who knows what they are doing and where they are going. So our first destination is going to be this northern gate, and we are going to go to Widow's Overlook. And while we are traveling to Widow's Overlook, we are going to end the episode here. If you enjoyed this walkthrough / guide, go ahead and leave a like, comment. If you really enjoyed it, go ahead and subscribe. And I will hopefully see you in the next one.